Picture this, you're the reigning MotoGP world champion. You've just claimed the title last year with the fastest bike on the grid, the strongest team behind you, and a reputation as one of the most fearless and talented riders the sport has ever seen. Then, at the very beginning of the new season, you suffer a dramatic crash right in front of your home crowd in Spain. After the race, you step up to the microphone and deliver a line that stops everyone in their tracks. "I don't have the pace to fight for the world championship." Wait, what? 8-time world champion Marc Márquez actually said those words. And in this video we're going to break down exactly why that statement is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it might be one of the smartest, most mature things a champion can say. Stick around until the end because there's one insight that could genuinely change the way you think about competing at the absolute highest level. Here's exactly what happened. The 2026 Spanish Grand Prix at Jerez has just concluded, and Marc Márquez, now riding for the factory Ducati team, had to deal with a tough outcome. He crashed out during the race, and it wasn't a simple low side. His bike cartwheeled violently multiple times after he went down at the fast corner. Fortunately, he walked away unharmed. But the crash itself wasn't the main story everyone was talking about. It was what Márquez said in the post-race interview that stole the headlines. He was refreshingly honest and direct. "At the moment, we're not riding at our best, nor do I have my pace to fight for the world championship." In an era where most athletes and teams usually stick to safe answers like "we're still in it" or "there are plenty of races left," Márquez chose to face the situation head-on with brutal honesty. But here's the important nuance. He was very clear that he was only talking about his own personal performance, not the Ducati package as a whole. And that distinction is crucial because on the very same day, his younger brother Alex Márquez delivered a brilliant performance. Riding for the independent Gresini Ducati squad, Alex won the race outright, ending Alex Rin's 5-race winning streak in impressive fashion. So the Ducati machinery is clearly competitive and strong. The issue, according to Marc, lies specifically with himself, and he knows it better than anyone. Let's take a closer look at where Marc Márquez actually stands this season, because it's not as straightforward as he's struggling. He has already secured 2 sprint race victories this year, including the Jerez sprint on Saturday. That shows his raw one-lap speed is still very much present. The real challenge is maintaining that speed consistently over the full Grand Prix distance, lap after lap, especially when the pressure is on. His most recent Grand Prix victory came at the San Marino GP back in September of last year. Part of the dry spell since then was caused by injury, but heading into this Jerez weekend, Márquez declared himself fully fit, which makes the situation even more intriguing. If his body is no longer the problem, then the difficulty must be somewhere in rhythm, feeling with the bike and race day confidence. A heavy crash like the one at his home circuit can easily shake that confidence if you allow it to. When explaining the crash, Márquez stayed calm and factual. He said the bike simply closed up on him, and in that split second he made a deliberate decision not to fight to save it. Instead, his priority was positioning his body correctly to hit the gravel as safely as possible. Looking at how violently the bike tumbled afterward, that was clearly the right call. He also refused to blame the wind, saying plainly, "If there's a crosswind, it affects everyone." He could have used that as an excuse. He chose not to. That's classic Márquez. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture in the championship standings. Marco Bezzecchi has been playing the long game perfectly. He finished second at Jerez, his first race without a win this season, yet he still managed to extend his lead at the top of the championship. Meanwhile, Marc Márquez sits in 5th place, 44 points behind the Italian. 44 points is a significant gap at this level, especially when every single Sunday matters. Bezzecchi's approach has been almost textbook. You don't need to win every race, you just need to be consistently there, collecting strong points weekend after weekend. It's working beautifully for him right now. This contrast really highlights 2 very different racing philosophies. Márquez has always been an all-or-nothing rider, either dominant wins or the occasional high-risk crash. Bezzecchi is calmer, more calculated, playing chess while others play checkers. At this moment, the championship is rewarding Bezzecchi's style. Even Márquez himself admitted that his realistic target for the Sunday race was a podium finish, fighting for 3rd or 4th place, not necessarily the win. "We set out determined to fight for 3rd or 4th place, that's where we would have been heading," he explained. Unfortunately, he didn't even make it to the checkered flag. Now, here's the most interesting part of the entire story. Why would a rider of Marc Márquez's caliber publicly admit that he doesn't currently have the pace to challenge for the title? First, this is not pessimism, it's pure self-awareness. Marquez put it perfectly himself. I'm the first to try and look at things optimistically, but at the same time, realistically. He's not giving up, he's simply refusing to sugarcoat the situation. Second, by openly naming the problem, he creates genuine urgency inside the team. If he had said everything's fine, just give it time, there would be no real pressure to make significant changes. But by stating clearly, my pace isn't where it needs to be, he sends a strong message to the engineers, data analysts, and everyone in the Ducati garage that something has to improve, and quickly. Third, and perhaps most importantly, it shows a level of maturity that only comes from years of battling through adversity. Think about Marquez's journey. The devastating shoulder injury that nearly ended his career, multiple surgeries, the bold decision to leave Honda after years of total dominance, rebuilding everything from scratch at Ducati, and finally winning the World Championship last year. A rider who has been through all of that doesn't feel the need to fake confidence he doesn't truly feel. Even in the middle of the disappointment, he ended his comments with a very typical Marquez line: "Tomorrow is Monday and life goes on. No drama, no excuses, just moving forward." So the big question on everyone's mind: is there still a realistic path back for Marc Márquez this season? The answer is yes, but the window is getting narrower. This isn't about a rider who has lost his talent or is physically declining. The raw speed is still clearly there. The challenge is more about rediscovering that perfect race day rhythm and rebuilding complete trust with the bike over a full Grand Prix distance. That kind of thing is fixable, especially with the resources and data available at a factory Ducati team. The GP26 is obviously a very fast bike. Alex Marquez proved that by winning the race with fewer resources on an independent squad. So the equipment is not the issue. However, that 44-point deficit needs to start coming down soon. If the next few rounds continue in the same way, crashing out on Sundays while Bezzecchi quietly collects more podiums, then Marquez's own honest words could end up becoming reality. And no one, especially his fans, wants to see that happen. What hasn't changed at all is his mentality. A champion who can crash hard, walk away, dust himself off, and then speak with such clarity and composure is not someone who gives up easily. Now I want to hear what you think. You've watched all the way to the end, so let's discuss it in the comments. Do you believe Marc Márquez can still mount a serious comeback and challenge for the 2026 title, or has the season already slipped away from him, making it Bezzecchi's championship to lose? Drop your honest take below. I read every single comment, and the most interesting ones will be featured in the next video. If you enjoy this kind of in-depth MotoGP analysis, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. One last thing, I want you to help decide what we cover next. If you want a deep dive on Alex Marquez and how he's quietly becoming the brother who might one day outshine the legend, comment Alex. If you'd rather we analyze Marco Bezzecchi and why he could be the most dangerous rider on the grid right now, comment Bez. Voting is open in the comments, let's see which one wins. Thanks for staying with me until the very end, that really means a lot. See you in the next one.